All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know it is let's see, the last full week of July. So thank you for joining today. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, which is a perfect opportunity for me to plug our YouTube channel. I know many of you have subscribed, but if you haven't yet, and you maybe you're seeing this video on the YouTube channel and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Again, it's the Live Well, Work Well YouTube channel. Every week, myself, Coach Brandon, and my counterpart, Johannes, the life coach, we post a new video at least one new video every week. Sometimes even more than that, but at least one new video every single week. So a lot of great content on there to look back. You can also look back and see every single other boot camp that I've done. Every other Move Monday video that Johannes and I have recorded, you can go back and watch all of those. So please subscribe. And then you can also see, of course, as soon as we release a new video, you'll be able to see that new video. Again, it's the last week of July. It's also the last week, of course, of Physical Fitness Month, which means that this is the last live boot camp of the month. With it, of course, being Physical Fitness Month, we have a bunch of live boot camps. So the first one, we had to focus on endurance. The second one, we had to focus on strength. This one, we have a focus on power. And I'll explain in just a moment what power, or I should say what the focus will be of power exercises, or what makes an exercise a power exercise. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll explain a little bit more detail on that. But before we get into that, just a couple quick announcements. This is the last full week also of the 10,000 Steps a Day Challenge, team challenges and overall challenge. And I just looked at the MoveSpring app where we look at, all of the challenge statistics. And right now, I believe we're at over 68 million steps. I did a little bit of the calculations, and that comes out to around, I think, close to 35,000 miles walked collectively. And I did another quick calculation. I was like, man, that's obviously a ton of miles. And I was like, well, let's see. If I did some more calculations, and I figured out that if you got in a car and you drove at 65 miles an hour nonstop, and I'm talking like no, somehow hypothetically you're in a magic car that never needs to stop, 65 miles an hour, no sleeping, literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it would take over 3 weeks of nonstop driving at 65 miles an hour to get that many miles. And that's how many miles you guys have walked so far. And we still have another week to go. So that's awesome. And again, just keep up the motivation through this final week. It's not over just yet. So keep it going. Again, this goes through the July 30th, this coming Saturday. So again, still have this whole work week. Also coming up next month, again, next week, going into August, it is Dental Health Month, also back to school month. So we have a lot going on with new content on, again, our Move Mondays and Thoughtful Thursdays that Johannes and I will be coming out with on starting next week, the first. So look for next Monday. Again, Dental Health Month, back to school month, kicking it off. This summer is going by way too quick. I can't even believe I'm saying that August is next month, which is completely bizarre to me. But again, Dental Health Month and back to school month. Also, obviously, as we're wrapping up Physical Fitness Month, again, I know some of you may have been able to join some of the other boot camps live, or maybe watch them recorded on the YouTube channel. And I know for the last couple live boot camps, I've explained a little bit about what makes it an endurance focus, or the last week, what makes it a strength focus. This week, again, a power focus. And with a power focus, I wanted to explain a little bit before we get started on what makes an exercise, or what determines if an exercise is more of a power movement. Generally speaking, it's going to be a movement that's faster, a little bit more explosive. Makes sense with it being a power exercise. So again, a little bit more of an explosive movement. However, there are also a couple other things that come along with that. With power exercises, you're going to see lower reps and more recovery time, and that's intentional. That's because for each repetition, you're looking for close to maximum effort. And with maximum effort becomes a higher necessity for recovery time. So you're going to see lower reps, longer recovery time. So you're going to see that with today's exercises. We only have 6 exercises today, but again, that's because we need a little bit more recovery time in between. So whenever you are, maybe you've done power exercises before, or plyometric type of power exercises, high intensity exercises in the past, or maybe you're going to start doing those, just remember to give yourself more recovery time. We'll do each exercise about 2 to 3 rounds. Ideally, you want to do any exercise you do at least 2 to 3 rounds. And again, we're going to keep each exercise somewhere between 3 to 6 reps for each time we do that. So again, lower reps, and we will give ourselves a little bit more recovery time. But a couple benefits I wanted to talk about. Some people don't understand, like, well, why do power exercises? What's the point if you're not playing a sport? Well, there are a lot of reasons why. A few of the main reasons: it's still going to help to build muscle, which is always important for our overall strength, but also our metabolism. We're going to burn more calories. It's an incredible way to burn fat. It also helps to improve our agility, our speed, and our movement. So agility is important, regardless of, again, if we play sports. But as we get older and older, staying agile is super important. And one of the other great benefits is it helps to decrease risks of injury. So a lot of really good benefits. But one thing I will say before we get into these exercises, one thing I recommend is, if you're struggling to do any of the exercises in an explosive way, slow it down. It's okay if you need to slow down your movements. If you're not able to do an exercise exactly like I demonstrated, again, one of the best ways you can modify any of these is to simply slow it down. But again, a lot of these exercises, you're going to see a little bit more faster, explosive movements. But yeah, that's about it of what I'll say for now. I'll try to leave a couple minutes at the end if anyone has any questions. But for the sake of time, we're going to get right into this, and I'm going to make my way back to my little mat here. And again, I know I mentioned this in pretty much every live boot camp, but hopefully you have a little mat, or if you're on carpet or something, a towel, something softer, just to reduce impact a little bit easier on your joints, and a little bit just more comfortable for you in general. So let me move my chair out of the way here. And you may have noticed I have a little earpiece in here. Makes it a little bit easier for you to hear me. I'll do my best. If it falls out, just bear with me, but it should be okay. Now with this first exercise, what we're going to do, you've probably seen this before in other boot camps, but what we're going to do with this first exercise is we'll complete the reps. We'll actually go into another exercise. Then we'll give ourselves a slight break. I'm talking like 30 to 60 seconds of a break. In general, when it comes to a power workout, sometimes it's advised to take 3 to 5 minutes of recovery time for higher intensity exercises, higher intensity explosive movements. That's important because we want to feel adequately recovered before we go back to doing that exercise again. You should be able to go back, feel recovered enough to go right back into that same exercise with just as much of an explosive force. So with our first exercise here, one other thing, real quick thing I'll say, a lot of these exercises are lower body. That's very typical for power exercises, is lower body explosiveness. So a lot of leg exercises here. They're not all leg exercises, but you're going to see a lot of leg exercises of the exercises we're doing today. So what we're going to start with here today is a reverse lunge to a knee up, or a reverse lunge to a hop if you want to make it more challenging. As you might see here, I have a chair. I'll show you in a moment, this is what I like to use as a way for you to see a modified version of the exercise. But first, let me show you our first exercise. We're going to do a reverse lunge to a knee up. So what we're going to do, just like a standard reverse lunge, we're going to step all the way back, dropping that back knee down to the floor, or not all the way to the floor, but down toward the floor. You're going to drive your weight through your front foot and use that forward momentum, bringing that knee up to generate a little bit of an explosive power. So again, as I step back to the reverse lunge, I'm going to drive my weight through my front foot, exploding my knee up toward the ceiling. a couple options for this. You can simply take out that knee up, just stand back up tall, slow it down. Or if you still want to try to do it explosively and you need a little bit of help with balance, holding on to like a chair or a table that's nice and sturdy, still stepping back into that reverse lunge, and then driving that weight up at the, or driving your knee up at the top. What we're going to do here, we're going to do 5 reps on one side, then 5 reps on the other side. So I'm going to move my chair out of the way here. So remember, it doesn't really matter which leg you start with, but we're going to step back to that reverse lunge, then drive our knee up at the top. Here we go. Again, 5 reps on one side, then we'll switch and do 5 reps on the other leg. Let's go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one on this side, and 5. All right, going right into the other side, same thing. Stepping back to that reverse lunge. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. I know I feel a little bit of a burn there, so you might be going, man, I'm glad I didn't do more reps of that. That's, again, we're trying to keep reps lower so that we can keep our explosive power up. That is the point. We will come back to that, but in the meantime, we're going to go on to exercise number 2. You're going to see a power push-up. I know it's like, oh no, like, is there any way we can make push-ups more challenging? Yes, there is a way we can make push-ups more challenging. That's with a little bit more of an explosive movement. I'll show you what this is going to look like. So you're going to make your way down to the floor. We're going to start off in our tall plank position, our tall push-up position here. Straight body, feet at least shoulder width apart. If you're able to, as we go through these, we're still only doing 5 reps of these. I'm going to lower myself down to the floor, just like a typical push-up. But when I push back up, I'm going to go with a little bit more of an explosive push off the ground and then right back into that next push-up. Option for this one, a couple things. We can bring our knees down to the floor, do the same exercise, still exploding at the top. Or you might notice this here, having slightly elevated surface, this, or even up onto a chair that's stationary, that's stable, having your hands on something like a little bench or something that's a little bit more elevated, and then still exploding at the top. It's going to make it a little bit easier the higher your upper body is relative to your lower body. I'm not going to use this. I'm just showing you what an example of that would look like. So I'm going to move this out of the way. We're doing 5 of these, and then we're going to go back to our reverse lunge to knee up. Here we go. So back to our push-up position. Nice straight body there. Here we go. 5 reps. Let's knock them out. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Woo. Those are tough. And that's again, that's kind of supposed to be. But our legs have had a good amount of recovery time. So we're actually going to go right back into our reverse lunge to knee up. Here we go. 5 reps on one side, 5 reps on the other. Doesn't really matter which side you start with, as long as you get each side. Here we go. Right into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, right into the other side one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. Whew. I know when you're working on one side at a time, you really start to feel that burn by the end of it. So in just a moment, we'll make our way back down to the floor. We'll have our power push-ups again. Remember the options I showed you. Slowing it down, you could bring your knees down to the floor and or elevate your hands onto, you could even use a chair. If you have a chair that's stable, even a little bit higher of an elevated surface will make it a little bit easier too. All right, guys, here we go. So now that we went back to those reverse lunge to hops, our upper bodies had a little bit of a chance to recover as well. So we're going to go right into our power push-ups one more time. Here we go. Getting in that tall plank position, straight body, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Again, that's tough. Those are tough when you're exploding off the ground, all of that force in your chest and arms. So we've got through our first 2 exercises. We're going to go on to our next one. And this is, again, a little bit of a lower body focus, lower body explosive movement. However, this time, We're going to keep both feet. We're going to use both legs to explode. What we're going to do is a long jump, a broad long jump. So what that means, we're going to have our feet at least shoulder width apart or a little bit wider. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to come down into about a half squat position. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to, with the assistance of my arms, I'm going to swing my arms back. And then as I bring my arms forward, I'm going to jump forward as far as I can. We're going to do 5 repetitions of those. Your best option for this one, couple things. Just simply jumping as far as you feel comfortable with. And what I mean by that is not that it feels easy to you, but what still feels challenging. If you feel like you can't really jump too far, that's okay. But another option is going down into a half squat and just coming up off your heels, not jumping at all. So we're going to go through 5 repetitions of this. So remember, we're just jumping forward using the assistance of our arms, driving our weight forward as far as we can. We'll kind of bring our feet back. We'll do it again, and we're going to do 5 repetitions, and then we'll go on to that next exercise. All right, guys, here we go. 1, walking our feet back. 2, 3, land soft. That's important. 4, last one. 5. So remember, as you're landing, let your knees absorb that impact a little bit. So we're going to come back to that exercise, of course. But our next exercise, it is a lot of it's a lot of lower body, but it's actually some upper body and core too. This one I would say is definitely like a full body kind of exercise, more of a full body movement. This next one, if you've done it before, you may have heard it referred to a couple different things. I like to call it a squat thruster, but you'll see what it is. It's kind of like a portion of doing a burpee in a way. We're not doing a burpee, but it almost kind of has that same feeling to it or that same movement to it. So with your squat thruster, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like first. I'll show you the modified version after. So with your squat thruster, feet should be, again, at least shoulder width apart or wider. I preferably for this one would recommend starting your feet wider than shoulder width apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to get down into a squat position. I'm going to have my hands by my chest here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to squat, bringing my hands to the floor, pop my feet all the way back. From here, I'm going to drive my feet all the way back up to where they started and then back to my squat position. Option for this exercise. Still starting in that squat position, but all you're going to do, walk your feet back, back forward, and then back to your squat position. So you're essentially just taking out that jump back and forth with your feet. 5 repetitions, and then we'll go back to our broad jumps, our long jumps. All right, guys, so I'll show you from the front so you can actually see how wide my stance is. So it's definitely wider than my shoulders. All right, guys, here we go. 5 squat thrusts. All right, starting that squat position and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, tough. And I would say that by the end of these repetitions of each exercise, you should be tired, but not necessarily to the point where you feel like you're going to fall over. So remember, again, adjust your intensity as needed, as relative to you. All right, guys, we're going right back to our broad jumps. One more time, broad jump, broad stance, long jump forward. All right. Remember, when we land softly, let those knees absorb your landing. All right, here we go. 1, 2, walk it back, use those arms as momentum. 3, 4, last one, and 5. I know, a lot of jumping, a lot of leg movements going on. Trust me, I know. That's why with power exercises, it is important. You can't get right back into it as quickly as we can on like an endurance, strength focus. With power, less reps, more recovery time. We're going back to our squat thrusters one more time. Here we go. Starting in our low squat position, hands down to the ground. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know my heart rate's up a lot. You probably feel quick spikes in your heart rate. That's good. Last couple exercises here. This is, both of these is a lower body focus. However, they hit somewhat different muscle groups. So you might feel a little bit of a different element. The first one we're going to do is actually a lateral power movement. Lateral power meaning side to side. Lateral power is an aspect of fitness that a lot of people tend to ignore. We do a lot kind of going forward, meaning like lunges or jumping, but rarely do you see as much of a focus on training side to side power, which is important for agility, but also reducing risks of injury, which is incredibly important, not just for your work life, but also your home life. When it's winter time and your body's more used to those side to side movements, it does a little bit better job of not only being stronger in an environment where the floor might be a little bit less stable, like ice, but will again reduce possibilities, risks of injury related to those instances. So our next exercise here is what is called a speed skater lunge. You might hear it referred to other things too, that's okay. But with the speed skater lunge, we're gonna be driving our foot to the side as far as we can, and then alternating side to side. We're gonna essentially be jumping back and forth, just kind of like a speed skater looks. So you're gonna raise your other foot off the ground, drive your weight through the foot planted, and then side to side. We're gonna do 10 repetitions total so that we get 5 reps on each side. Your best option for this one as an alternative option is simply taking out the jump and just stepping up to the side as wide as you can, lifting that other knee off the ground or that other foot off the ground. 10 repetitions, here we go, right into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. So you felt that side to side. Again, generating force one leg at a time, generating power one leg at a time, while also your other leg landing and absorbing that impact and decelerating your body, which is still working a lot of different muscle areas. All right, so the last exercise we're going to see, we will go back to that speed skater lunge one more time, but the last exercise we're going to see today are jump squats. I know you're probably like, oh no, not jump squats. It's exactly what it sounds like. We're going to squat, and then as we come up, we're going to generate explosive power and jump off the ground. So I'll show you first what it will look like, and then I'll explain the modified version of it. So your jump squat, again, I'd recommend your feet at least shoulder width apart. If it's a little bit wider, that's fine too, but at least shoulder width apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to squat down. Remember, when you squat down, keep the upper body, that chest upright, eyes forward. I'm going to squat. And then as I come up off the ground, I'm going to drive my arms down, powering my heels up and bringing my toes off the ground. So it's going to basically jumping up from that squat as high as you can. Option for this one, taking out the jump and or reducing the depth of the squat. So you can go down not as far into your squat, and then as you come up, simply stand up on your feet. Or if you still want to try to do it a little bit explosively without jumping, just come up off your heels. So we're going to do 5 reps total of those. All right, here we go, guys. I'll show you from the side too. Feet at least shoulder width apart, wider, chest up nice and tall. Squatting down, 5 repetitions. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, just kind of like the broad jumps, absorbing that impact. As you land, try to land softly, letting your knees and hips absorb that impact. We're coming back to that one more time, but first, our speed skater lunges one more time, right into it, side to side, 10 repetitions total. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Again, side to side, lateral power. One more time. This is our last exercise, and then we're done. Our time is almost up on this last Monday of July. Our squat jumps, our last exercise of this workout. Squat jumps, 5 repetitions. Whatever you have left in the tank, use it on this one. Jump as high as you can off the ground. Feel like you couldn't have given it any more effort. This is it. Here we go. And ready, going into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. I know you're feeling that in your lower body, probably more than anything today. Not as much of an upper body focus, but again, that's pretty typical for a power focus. You're not going to see as much upper body just due to the nature of the explosiveness coming from our lower body for more obvious reasons, more movements related to sports and agility. So thank you all so much again for joining this live boot camp. I know we've had a lot of live boot camps this month. The next one will actually be towards the end of August. So I know with it being Physical Fitness Month, we wanted to bring you as many live boot camps as we could. You won't actually see one towards the end of August. So keep an eye out for that. But also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Live Well, Work Well. You'll see my videos and Johannes, our life coach's videos, posting, again, at least one new video every single week. So a lot of great content out there. Keep an eye out for Dental Health Month information. My first coming out this coming week, basically, regarding to health benefits of flossing. Johannes also talking about health benefits of keeping your dental hygiene where it should be. But thank you all again so much. I look forward to seeing more of you soon out on site, in the office, virtually. And again, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly, wellnesscoach@transitchicago.com. Have a great day, everyone, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.